Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon Perna here to break the news of a coach being fired. 8 days ago, Jim Irsay told ESPN's Chris Mortensen that he was giving no thought to firing head coach Frank Reich, or as I will now call him, Frank Reicher's Island. Today, the 3-5-1 Colts have fired head coach Frank Reich after their 23-point loss to the Patriots on Sunday, ending Reich's 4.5-year stint as head coach in Indianapolis that included 2 playoff appearances and 1 playoff victory. And I guess technically this firing makes Jim Irsay a liar, pants on fire. Or possibly just drunk with power after he successfully flexed on Dan Snyder. The Colts have also named Jeff Saturday as interim head coach. I will get to that in a minute. And ponder which next NFL head coach will be fired, because I think more are coming. Now, in those 4+ years, Frank Reich posted a record of 40-33-1, which is shockingly close to his NFL career, where his touchdown to interception ratio was 40-36. Unfortunately, there are no ties between a touchdown and interception. Of course, Reich started his NFL career with a record of 1-5, but rallied to finish the 2018 season with a 10-6 record. The seminal moment of Reich's career, don't make a Phillip Rivers seminal joke, was Andrew Luck, of course, retiring in the 2019 preseason. Reich's Colts have started the season with a different quarterback in each of the last 4 seasons, the best of them being with the great Phillip Rivers in 2020, a man whom I miss quite dearly. Now, all things considered, I think Reich has done a really good job with the quarterbacks he's been given, outside of Matt Ryan, of course. And maybe the poor line play, lack of a running game, and no real receiving threats also hindered the Matt Ryan-Frank Reich experiment. Reich obviously took the bullet, even though he tried to use OC Marcus Brady as a human shield, firing him a week ago, but general manager Chris Ballard is probably as responsible for the Colts underachieving the last couple years. Ballard's made some really good picks in the draft with Shaq Leonard and Jonathan Taylor, but they haven't made any big splash moves to put them over the top in a division that's not all that intimidating. And they always seem to have the money to do so, but choose to not spend it. Remember that Reich was not the Colts' pick as head coach back in 2018. They tried to hire Josh McDaniels. McDaniels backed out, and Reich was their consolation prize. And now, almost 5 years later, McDaniels has a head coaching job while Reich has been officially shown the door. Of course, next week, the Colts play the Raiders. The timing of this is interesting, as Josh McDaniels is doing a horrific job with the Raiders, and I thought he had a better chance of being fired today than Frank Reich. McDaniels famously pulled out of the Colts head coaching job, which is why Reich landed it. Then Andrew Luck pulled out of the QB job. And Phillip Rivers, of course, famous for never pulling out, also pulled out in retirement after the 2020 season. I don't think it will be tough for Frank Reich to find a new head coaching job next season, if he wants one. I think we could see potential openings in Las Vegas, Washington, Houston, Arizona, Denver, Detroit, and Carolina. It would be rather hilarious if he replaced Josh McDaniels again, this time in Vegas, and then had his best season as a coach with another AFC West-born QB in Derek Carr. He could also maybe go back to Doug Peterson and work in some sort of offensive role there, but I'm just guessing at this point. If you allow Reich some stability at quarterback, and as much as I like Jim Irsay, an owner who's not meddling quite as much, I think Reich can have a successful second act as a head coach. If the Broncos do move on from Nathaniel Hackett, and I hope it doesn't come to that, Frank Reich makes perfect sense as a guy who's coming in with experience and an offense-first mindset. Although I think we are witnessing how much Nick Sirianni contributed to the Colts' offensive success, and that losing him to Philly has probably hurt Reich on game days, as Reich is in charge of calling plays. But it is hard to win with a QB like Sam Ehlinger, no matter what plays you're calling, and it's kind of weird to fire a guy when that is your quarterback. Now, I don't think Reich will be the last coach to get fired during the middle of this season. Out of all of the teams I've named, I think there's a real chance that Kliff Kingsbury gets the axe, while the Cardinals keep underachieving, or Josh McDaniels could get canned mid-season for a second time if they blow another 17-point lead, which is possible. My money, though, is on Kingsbury, even though I'm really pulling for McDaniels to come through here. The one thing the Cardinals have on staff is a coach with head coaching experience, and I'm having the time of my life, Vance Joseph. He's already served as interim coach when Kingsbury had the Rona, and he can do the job sufficiently for the remainder of the season. The Raiders' best option is, maybe the most Raiders-looking head coach since Art Shell and Rob Ryan, who is on the Raiders staff in some sort of fucking role. Which leads me to the weirdest part of this story. Former Colts center Jeff Saturday has been named interim head coach. No, he was not on the Colts coaching staff. He's been sitting on his, what I can only assume is a perfectly sculpted ass over at ESPN for the last decade, and will now lead the Colts with Sam Ehlinger at QB. Maybe his first move as head coach is to unbench Matt Ryan. Jeff Saturday is most famous for being the Colts center, and of course for getting yelled at by Peyton Manning.
Hey, quit calling the plays, all right?
Hey, we gotta run the ball. Six down.
Let me pass, block. We'll run the ball.
Can we run it down there? Can we run it down?
Yeah, Jeff,
Okay, so
we will. All right, when we call pass plays, block.
Well, my, how the turns have tabled as Jeff Saturday is actually calling the plays now. Peyton. At this point, I would expect Jim Irsay to name Pat McAfee as GM and Marvin Harrison as head of gun control. This move feels like an Irsay move, not a Ballard move, but who knows? Adam Schefter reported that Saturday, hired on a Monday, has been coaching the Hebron Christian Academy football team in Dacula, Georgia. That's a high school football team, which sort of makes Jeff Saturday the LeBron James of the NFL, making the jump from high school to the pros. Can he become the LeBron James of head coaches? Only time will tell. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports breaking news episode. Come back later today. I'll have the best and worst of all of NFL Sunday up for you to enjoy or get pissed off at. Whatever.